Welcome back, everyone. I'm Steven, and you're watching Tasker's Barbecue Supply. Today, we're going to be smoking up a 15.5 pound prime brisket, so stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe so that you can get notified of future videos and help us along the way. Our video today is sponsored by Accessories Limited in Moundsville, West Virginia. If you're looking to accessorize your ride with lift kits, tires, wheels, tent, or anything else, go see the guys at Accessory Limited. They'll set you up. They're also our local Big Green Egg dealer, so check them out on Facebook or in store in Moundsville, West Virginia. Now, we're going to go get this brisket trimmed up and seasoned so it can set up and be ready to put on the grill later. I'll meet you guys inside. Welcome back, everyone. As you can see, we have a 15.5 pound USDA prime brisket. Now, this brisket is not trimmed yet. Our video today is not going to be about a competition style brisket. It's just going to be a brisket that you make to eat at home. If you're looking for a good video to watch about making a competition brisket, check out How to Barbecue Right. Their channel is excellent, and Malcolm knows the exact way to make a good competition brisket. So I strongly suggest you check out his channel if you're looking for anything to do with the competition style cooking. So, we're going to get this trimmed up, and we'll be back here in just a minute. All we're looking to do is just kind of clean it up a little bit. Like I said, this isn't going to take a whole lot of trimming. We're not trying to make it look fancy. We just want to get the excess fat and silver skin off. So we'll see you guys here back in just a minute. So as you can see, we've got our brisket all trimmed up. Now we've got all the excess fat taken off of it, most of the silver skin. It doesn't look beautiful, but it doesn't have to. It's just going to be something simple for us to eat at home. If this was a competition brisket, it would look completely different. But this is all we need to get it on the grill. So let's get this baby seasoned up. Today, we're going to be using some of Killer Hogs products. Killer Hogs makes excellent products for beef, pork, chicken, just about anything you want to cook. Today, we're going to be using the all-purpose seasoning and some of the barbecue rub. Now, we're also going to be injecting this brisket. But since this is going in the fridge to set until early in the morning when we can put it on, I'm going to wait and inject right before I put it on the grill. We're going to be using some of Butcher Barbecue's Prime Beef Injection. Now, as you can see, this beef injection is in powder form. All you need is some warm water, maybe some apple juice, whatever you'd like to mix it with. You mix up the proper quantities, shake it up, and it's ready to go. What makes it nice is you don't have to open a fresh bottle of pre-made injection. You can mix up exactly what you need, and you can have ready there to go later on. If you're not from our area and you're interested in anything we're going to be using today, I'll put links in the description for all of our seasonings, our injections, the butcher paper we're going to be using, just about everything. I'll have links in the description below, so check it out. So, it doesn't really matter if this isn't competition on which side we start. I have a preference. I like to start on the fat side first on seasoning. So we'll flip this over and we'll start seasoning it up. So we're going to be starting with some of Killer Hogs AP Rub. The nice thing about this AP Rub, it has some salt, some pepper, garlic, different things like that in there to give this brisket a nice base layer. So we're just going to put it on, not super thick, but not thin, just kind of in the middle. We'll come behind it with some of Killer Hogs The Barbecue Rub and finish it up. The Barbecue Rub is nice and sweet with a little bit of back end heat, but it gives it a great color when you're smoking briskets. So we're just going to get this seasoned up, and we'll fast forward through it to make it a little easier for you. Okay, we've got our AP Rub on. Now we're going to come behind with some of the Barbecue Rub. Like I said, this doesn't need to be super thick either. You just want a nice coat because this is going to set in the fridge and all these flavors are going to absorb into the meat. Now we're just going to pat this down, Flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Alright, let's get the top side seasoned up now. We're going to start off with the AP rub again and follow up with the barbecue rub. Okay, now that we have the top side seasoned, we're going to do a little trick that I learned from Malcolm Reed. Find a coarse grind steak seasoning that you really like and just put a little bit on top. Doesn't take a lot, and just pat it down. What that's going to do is give you a little extra crunch and a little better texture on the bark. The other thing it's going to help with is having a coarse grind salt. As this sits in the fridge later until it goes on the grill, the salt's really going to absorb into the meat, which is what we want. So all we have to do is take our steak seasoning, and like I said, it's not going to take a lot. Just sprinkle a little bit on here. Just get it coated up a little bit, and then we'll pat it down, and that's really all it's going to need, and this will be ready to go. We're just going to pat it in a little. Now it's ready to go. So like I've said before, thank goodness for these aluminum pans. It catches all of our excess seasonings and everything down in the pan. We're going to let this rest in the fridge until we're ready to put it on the grill. We will bring it up to close to room temperature before we put it on the grill. But I don't have to do anything. I can just leave it right in here, throw some foil over it, and throw it in the refrigerator. But I don't have a mess anywhere to clean up. I don't have to sanitize anything else. These things are great. So we're going to put this in the fridge, and we'll see you guys back here in a little bit. So, just to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing. You know what we've done with the brisket so far. Tomorrow, we're going to be out early in the morning. We're going to get the pellet grill fired up to about 225 using some Cooking Pellets Perfect Mix. We're going to put it on the smoke until it hits right about 160 to 170 internal temperature. We're really going to be looking more for color than we are temperature, but that's where I estimate we're going to be at on the temperature range when the color sets just where we want it to be. On these briskets, what you're looking for is that nice mahogany color. When it hits the color you want, it's probably taking all the smoke you're going to want it to take. So that's the point to wrap it. There's no set temperature. Like I said, 160 to 170 is probably ballpark of where you're going to be at when you wrap it. Now we're going to be wrapping it with some peach butcher paper, which is basically just an unwaxed and unbleached paper that's meant for cooking purposes. I'll have a link in the description for it also, as well as the Killer Hogs rubs and the Butcher Barbecue. So if you need any of that stuff and you're not close enough to us, look in the description below. So we'll see you guys in the morning. Alright, welcome back everyone. It's about 4 a.m. and we're ready to put this brisket on. Now as I stated before, I did go ahead and inject this brisket ahead of time. We didn't really have time to get it on film since we did it at 4 o'clock in the morning. But I didn't want to inject it sooner. I didn't want everything to leak out. We wanted to wait and inject it right before we put it on the grill. So we've got that prime brisket injection in there. It's ready for the grill. We got our Rec Tec Bull running at 225 degrees with some Cooking Pellets Perfect Mix. So now we're just going to throw this brisket on. Now I know that the right hand side of my grill runs slightly hotter than the left. So I'm going to put the point toward the right hand side of the grill. I'm going to be putting it fat down. And we'll put one probe into the point and one probe into the flat so that we can watch our temperatures on both sides of this brisket while it cooks. Alright, so let's get it on the grill. Alright, now like I said, we're going to get these temperature probes in, that way we can monitor the temperatures of this brisket while we're inside. So let's get one in the point and one in the flat. Ready to take on some smoke. Alright, we're going to go inside and relax. And we're just going to monitor the temps on our phone. So we'll see you guys back here in a little bit. Alright, welcome back everyone. It's been about 7.5 hours since we put this brisket on in the morning. So we're going to check everything out. We're sitting at right about 160 in the point and 153 in the flat. So that's right about where I want to go ahead and wrap this. The bark's looking great on it so far. So we're just going to go ahead and wrap this up in some butcher paper and we'll get it back on the grill. So let's check this brisket out. As you can see, the bark looks great. We've got that nice color we want to see to it. That's about where I want it to stay, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up now and get it back on the grill. We're going to wrap it in the butcher paper so that it still gets some breathability to it, but it's not going to steam it like it will in foil. So let's get our temperature probes out. We're just going to lift this off, set it on our butcher paper. And this butcher paper is basically just an unwaxed and unbleached paper that's meant for food services. It's perfect for doing briskets and pork butts, anything like that you want to do. The benefit of using the butcher paper over the foil, like I said, it lets it breathe a little bit. It will still generate a little bit of smoke flavor, but it preserves that nice bark that we built up. We're just going to take and wrap it now. Sticker back on. I'm going to put my temperature probes back in. I'm just going to stick them right through the butcher paper so we can continue to monitor the temperatures. Now I put this back on fat side up. Now I know we talked about cooking it fat side down earlier. The reason we're doing it fat side up is that fat will render down and it will soak down through the meat and give it some good flavor. So this is just going to go on for several more hours till we get closer to 200 degrees and we can probe it up and see our tenderness. We'll be back here in a little bit for more. Alright everyone, welcome back. It's been a little over 16 hours since we first put this brisket on this morning. Now it's right about 200 degrees internal temperature and it's ready to come off and be put in the cooler to rest for a little while. Our brisket hit a stall just after we wrapped it, right about the 162, 163 degree mark. If you're unfamiliar with what a stall is, it's basically when the juices inside the meat are evaporating out and it cools the outside of the meat off just like when you sweat. What happens is right about the 165 degree mark, that meat will stall out on its temperature spike and it will stay there for anywhere from a couple hours to several hours. Ours stayed there for just about 4 hours. We broke through the stall after that, bumped our temperatures up a little bit. We could have made it go much faster, wrapping it up some more and bumping the temperature up, but I like going low and slow on this. So it's ready to come off. We'll see what it looks like. We'll go ahead and pull our temperature probes out now. We're just going to open this up, take a peek at it, and check our temperatures with an instant read thermometer. As you can see, it looks beautiful. It's plenty juicy. We don't have to worry about that. Let's check our internal temperatures real quick. That's perfect. We're sitting right about 200 degrees in the flat. So we're going to wrap this back up and we're going to put it down in our cooler. And it's going to rest for about 1 or 2 hours before we take it inside and slice it. We're just going to set this in a pan, put a towel over it to keep the heat in. We're going to close up our trusty Polaris cooler, let it rest, and we'll be back here in a little bit to slice it. See you then. All right, everybody, that time has come. We're getting ready to slice the brisket up with our new Dalstrong Gladiator Series slicing knife. Just to recap a little bit of what we did. We got this seasoned up with some of Killer Hog's AP rub, put on over top of it a little bit of the barbecue rub, put a little bit of steak seasoning on top of it to give it a little bit better bark. We let that sit in the refrigerator overnight. We pulled it out when we were ready to put this on the grill. We injected it with some of Butcher Barbecue's prime brisket injection, and we put this on the pellet smoker at 225 degrees with some Cooking Pellets Perfect mix at 4 a.m. Once our brisket got to about 160 degrees, we wrapped it up in some butcher paper and put it back on the pellet smoker. We bumped our temperature up to about 240 degrees, pushed us through the stall a little bit better. This brisket took about 16.5 hours overall. We could have sped it up, but I like doing this low and slow. As you can see, the end result is perfect. It's nice and tender, it's super juicy. So let's get this sliced up and check it out. We're just going to slice against the grain. Take about some 1/4 inch cuts. As you can see, we have a nice smoke ring on it. It's beautifully tender. Slice it up some more. Right there's what we want to see. It hangs together, but pulls apart very easily. This is beautiful. Let's try a little bit of it and see how she tastes. The flavor on this brisket's amazing. A good strong beef flavor. You can taste the seasonings a little bit in the bark, but the internal is a nice strong beef flavor, and that's what I go for. I don't like the internals to taste like seasoning and that. It's a brisket. It should taste like brisket. Overall, I'd say this is a huge success. Alright everyone, I'm going to get this sliced the rest of the way up, and we'll see you back next time. I appreciate everyone watching. I hope you subscribe to our channel, like our Facebook page, and check the description below for links to everything we've used in today's video. See you next time.